Okay, good evening, sir. I'm Kambali Kiria Ezekiel, and my ID is 24673. So, my previous video we're having some issues, so yeah, that's why I'm somehow recording too late. So I'm gonna keep it very short and very simple. So yeah, first of all, working on this project, I realized that if I try something very easy, not complicated, something lightweight, I was not going to get something out of this assignment, this exam. So yeah, I went for Django as the backend and React as the front end. And hosting those two were kinda very crazy, but I did my best to make them work. Right now, I'm going to walk you through first uh, the first question or the first part of the requirement says that we need to create two subs interfaces and assign static IP on these. So yeah, that's what I did. In this documentation, I have posted on the dev community. So I posted my documentation over there. So the first task was to create a VLAN network or a VLAN interface. From what? From a specific parent interface, which was for me it was wireless. So the wireless interface gives me a quite non-confusing IP. So that's why I went for this. And yeah, there are two of my interfaces. So if I do if config right here, you can see that I have them right here, and their respective IPs right there. So what was very not confusing, I have to to map them to map the two websites that we will be hosting today into. I should resolve them right here. So I'm gonna do nano and etc host. So the host name, I mapped these two domains for our specific IPs. All right. So having the IPs already set, we can now create the website. So website, we will need the Apache server and the Nginx server. So before even we go through this, yeah, let's go directly through that. So yeah, this is for the Apache configuration file. The Apache configuration file, I of course have made the update. So, but this shows us step by step the way I went through this configuration. But for starting, I have to strictly specify where is this web server going to be served, is on which IP. So I I can say statically assigned it the IP, and this port is for the secure web. Um, so the port, I did this because there were going to be conflict between this port, between Nginx and Apache on this port after after uh, you know after securing them, after certifying them. So I made sure that there is no conflict between these two. That's why this IP is on here. All right. So that was for security SSL certificate, which I did, which is a self-hosted or self-signed, right? A self-signed certificate I did right there. All right. So going through, I enabled the site, of course, and I did reload the Apache, so that can be saved. Same as for the NetBeans, no, for the Nginx portfolio. So as I said, the portfolio is being served so complicatedly, but it's too easy once you have your hands on it. All right. So first of all, I did the same as for the previous website configuration file. So this is specifically assigned an IP and a specific port, but it's on the same port as the Apache website, but since the IP are different, there is not going to be conflict. All right, so now here I also added the certificate for the Net Nginx. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Going through, we will keep looking in this. So as I said, the host name for the resolution of domain names that we have here, this going to be resolved to this, and the AUCA education to that. Alright, so this is when I was enabling HTTPS with self-assigned. So that is the way I went for it. I also enabled SSL for the Apache so that you can listen to secured requests coming from the browser. All right, now this is for updating these files, which I did. Of course, I did. I added this and I added this in the Nginx. Now I did the reload. So for this, for the dynamic hosting page, I already did, but since you made the change here, but before even we before these changes are applied to the requirements, I have already started, so I couldn't go back to the drawing board because I knew that I was gonna make it, and of course I did it. So yeah, now I was not going to do this, but I stick on the portfolio CRUD system. That's what I did, and of course I also added the HTTPS enabled, the firewall. Of course I did. Yes, I did. So if we continue through the documentation here, there is of course the most and difficult security service to set up is this mod security. The mod security is so complicated, which of course it needs a constant focus to what you are doing. That's why I uh, I am kinda late for that, but the setup of these rules on the mod security was smooth, and yeah. So mod security, of course, it is a open source. I can say it's open source first, and of course, same as for the rule set are open source. So it's up to you to configure them specifically and with much attention so that you don't crash your entire server. So for me, I'm working on my main computer. That's why it was not kinda difficult, but it is difficult in virtual machines. Many of my colleagues, I'm not sure they are going to make it. Wait, oh, this is Kali. That was Kali. All right. So now I said that I've enabled this, now I need to update again. Uh, I need to enable this security to Apache mode security so that it can be strong and uh, help the mode security to do it, to do its job. All right. Of course, I loaded the security. I loaded the security module that I have created in of course it is all there. So enabling it first, this is in the Nginx portfolio website, which of course I enabled the mod security and specify the file. So the file is located in this area. So if we try to see that right here, we're gonna have this. So all right, so this is where I also did include the rules for this mode security. Yeah, all right. So going back in here, so it's enabled. So for Apache, enabling Apache is this way. So sec rule engine turn on, and of course we must include. So if this mode security module exists, we must include this. If not, we don't need to to include this because this is an if statement in the configuration, and of course we are saving it from the the directory that is owned by the www data group. All right, so yeah, that is mod security. So now we are going to test that in short, and this is our yes configuration for the core rule set for the rules of mod rules, mod security rules. All right, so now let's test if of course the website is protected by testing with brute force or command injections or SQL injection. Alright, so now I'm gonna be testing this from a virtual machine to see if really the website can be accessed from a virtual machine. Alright, so I have my Kali Linux running right here. I'm gonna check if this IP I can ping it. So since we are on the same network, I can ping it. Alright, so let me check if the name is resolved. I'm gonna do portfolio uh, portfolio dot auka ACRW. So as you can see, the name is being also resolved right here. Alright, so now we're gonna check that on this website. So since it is HTTPS, we're gonna type in HTTPS dash dash now slash slash portfolio, and gonna see if we can access to this. Alright, so now the portfolio is working perfectly. So this is data that are being served from Django. So yeah, that is Django right there. So I can create, I can delete, I can update also. So if I do create, I'm gonna come here to create a course name. So let me say Linux, and let me say, yeah, let's hack together. Let's hack together, right? And of course the date, it can only be the coming date, not the previous date, and this date cannot be less than this, like this cannot be like, okay, right? So the institution, I'm gonna say AUCA. So these are institution also, it's data that are already had uh, are hard coded in, not hard coded, but they are already in database. So I can make instruction, no instructor, I can say Ezekiel, so I can hit submit. So now that I have submitted that, now you can see we have the course Linux here. Alright, and we have let's hack together, now the date, the instructor, and from where? From AUCA. Alright, that is it for the CRUD. Now we can check, but we can also check the read. Since we have this Python here, let's try to delete it. Now we ask, are you do you want really to delete our introduction to Python? Yes, I do. So I should be redirected. um, I may have deactivated some features in my Django backend. Yeah, I may have deactivated this button, but it was working. So since it is loading data, I can update, and everything is working perfectly. Let me see. Auka is great. Univa, right? I can save changes. Um, I don't know what is happening right now. This used to work. Did I set to? But since we can create that is perfect. But the website was working. All right, let's move on to so and as you can see is secured in SSL. All right. So as you can see right here, I'm gonna try now Auka 2467 2467. All right. Yeah, 2467.3. Let's check. Aha. So this is protected, and since we are on Apache, it recommends us to, as we are the users, and as they have already detected that this is a self-signed certificate, means it is risky. So do we accept the risk? Yes, we do. Yes, since Auka is already loading here. I'm completely sure that it's going to work, but we can still test that over here. And yeah, HTTPS. Okay. And of course, same thing. Why? It's not loading, but since there is Auka, then say, oh, let me check. It's okay. Let me close this. Yeah, since it should work, let's try to HTTP. I'll still bring. Yeah, it's directly changing to. So that is pretty much it for the for this, and since this is a static page, I don't, it's not so much of dynamic page. Let me check if system, yeah, status Apache, and let's say sudo Apache 2 service. So it is running, but it's not gracefully. But it is running so it's so slow, so slowly. So that may be because of the. It cannot be because of the certificate, because you can still have the certificate here. All right, that's pretty much it, and yeah, that's my presentation, and I'm gonna close this in that, close also Kali. I'm gonna close Kali. The website that is being accessible from our VMs. Now let's continue and see what we have enabled here on firewall. So our firewall is enabled, and these are the ports. So necessary ports were enabled. All right. Same as for, so yeah, for Docker, we are going to go through the second part of this requirements, and yeah, for that I will just need to go through here. And now we have Docker. So the same Django is the one I deployed on Docker right here. And I created the services that is going to be load balanced by traffic. All right. So let's see if we have all uh, our machines running. They are not running. So we can start by checking the configuration file. So then we will go into demonstration. So first of all, this is the first the backend Docker file. So first Docker file, I of course downloaded the image, the Python image, and I set some variables, some environment variables, and of course I set to true because I didn't need to it to have such a cache, many cache or logs, stuff like that. So as long as there is a log, directly delete it. So there is no byte for the logs. All right. So I chose our working directory as app, and then from the current directory because I was in my my. Let me open directory VS Code. No, it's okay. So since I was already in my backend folder, yeah, because of time. Since I was already in my directory folder, so I copied the entire file for the backend file into this directory using this copy. So I copied the project file. Then here I of course created a virtual environment for my Python dependencies, and of course I needed it also to specify that no cache is needed, and if you needed to upgrade pip, I should upgrade from the Docker file. And of course the requirements .txt has all the modules and packages that are needed for this backend to work. So now that the backend is working, now we had this run command right here in a Docker file. So what it does, it creates an endpoint .sh, which is a file that is going to be executed uh, at the end of this file. So it's an entry point. Once this file is completed, this is going to already be, because of what is the meaning of this? This is a Python configuration, so I needed to make migration so that they can check if there is changes in any of the files, and if there is changes, or if there is any model was created, I needed to migrate. And yeah, that is migrate, and this collect static files. All right, so having that, I can directly come and check the configuration of also for Python. And this is for the front end. So what is the front end doing here? I get also the node runtime, node runtime, and I also specified the React URL. Also, of course, I specified the working directory. Then I copied the package.json to the current working directory, to the working directory, not to the current. From the current working directory to the project directory. So I installed the dependencies. After the dependencies being installed, I needed to copy everything that were installed then to the working directory. Now I can build it. So after building, I directly went from create an Nginx that is going to be serving our our um, our website. Yeah. So our React app, of course, yes. So I configured. Let me show you from the from VS Code. It will be better. It will be better that way. All right. So yeah, that's the readme. So the file I'm talking about is here. So yeah, this is the way getting the uh, I'm creating the image from the Nginx latest image on the Docker hub. And then I get it. Then of course I'm going to use it. So I copy my Nginx file. I replace the default config file that is returned by the Nginx, so which is here. So to go through that, also I needed to specify the port for it to listen, and specify the application default type that is going to be received. So it's octet stream. which complicated my life, I can say that. So now right here, this is where all files are being transferred. So um, after the node, the React has finished building, so Nginx is expecting something from that builder, because I said as a builder. So from the builder, I'm going to take only the build directory and then send it to the Nginx static files where the HTML, the index.html can be loaded. Then I will expose the ports 80 for the traffic to listen to, and of course I will execute the Nginx, and of course it's not going to be executed because it's just built and then it cut off. So I must make sure that the daemon is off that time. All right. So yeah, going through the configuration file here, we have traffic that gets from the latest also, and it is listening to its dashboard. You get the dashboard from here, and this is the port that is listening to. All right. So we must also check the network. Network must be on this on especially on the services that are going to be working with traffic. They have to be on the same network. So yeah, and again, since I'm working with Python, I needed a service that is going to be hosting my endpoint, my Python, like the Python REST framework from this port 8000, and of course with 3 workers, and of course my IP is my application is that one. So this is the front end. So the same things we're talking about is here. Also, we must also specify where the request will be coming from. So these are the allowed origins. So having the origins there, I will directly go grab some of my APIs and return them. So the course APIs are here. So it's a complete website that I've been working on now. Um, yeah, so it's kind of like that. And if we try to see, we have seen the Docker file. So we are on the Docker Compose, which compose our files. So since you said that images has to be on our ID names, contain our ID names and stuff. So to really send this on internet was heavy. So I only going to send a video like that is not going to cost me a lot of time. That's pretty much it for the documentation. Uh, for the documentation, it's similar to that. So yeah, that's pretty much the step I went through, and yeah. So if you try to check, uh, try to run this, see if you can see something. If it's working, then we can check. And since they need to run on a port 80, so I'm gonna just turn off, like shut down the Apache systemctl stop Apache. I'm gonna stop Apache. I'm gonna stop also, so Apache is taking a lot of time. I'm gonna stop also Nginx, and I'm gonna stop also the Python server, which is Unicorn service. So now that those 3 services are stopped, now my portfolio can run, and my traffic too. So now since they can run right now, so as you can see, Alright, so if you go to the port 8080, um come on please, you just show me the portfolio here. mm. So if you're gonna go come to course. Alright, so my IP are being loaded, so yeah, since I have these two backends running, I'm gonna test if the one, if I shut one down, this will still be here. So if it doesn't, means my traffic didn't work. If this disappear, if I will directly see that my traffic is not working. And yeah, so let me shut down the first one. This is it. I'm gonna shut this down. So shutting that down, let me see. So if I refresh here, will my traffic work or will this disappear? The traffic is working perfectly. So I am also going to shut down this. I'm going to turn this back on. So let's wait, that's on. Yes, since that is on right now, so let me shut down this. So let's shut down this. Okay, Brakoze. So let me shut down and let me refresh again. Oh yes, my traffic is working. It's working, sir. Is completely working. As you can see right here, I can shut down anytime, any soon. So, but the front end is the only problem that I'm still having here. Since let me try to shut down all of them, and we will see if it is saved, if this traffic will save. So let me refresh. Yeah, it is working. Yep. So that's almost it, sir. Thank you for everything, and thank you for this work. I really enjoyed working on this project, so thank you, sir. Hey, no, I'm just going to shut down this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now that that is shut down, if I even refresh this, I won't have that. Look, yeah. So that's pretty much it. And thank you, really. I really the documentation really explain clearly, assuring reproducibility for similar project. And of course, yes, anybody who would like to get through this, I have a website, I have a channel, a YouTube channel. I'm going to be making videos on this kind of stuff, and thank you, sir. I'm sure that I have completed all the work. So the dynamic portfolio is on Docker. Yes, I have the load balancer, and we've seen that it's working. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And SSL, actually, it requires me to have a domain name, so I couldn't have a domain name that it is hosted on any DNS server out there on internet. So I couldn't encrypt. Let's encrypt. I couldn't set that certificate. That's why. So thank you, sir. I'm gonna submit this very quickly.